In today's video, we're going to be going over some of my most anticipated winter fragrances that I basically look forward to wearing each year as soon as it starts to get a little bit cold out. You know, I love summertime and I love my summer fragrances, but there does come a point where when you're wearing freshies for months and months in a row, you start to crave scents with some depth and some complexity behind them. And so as soon as you start to get a little bit of that kind of cool feeling in the air, fall is right around the corner, immediately I start thinking right about some of my favorite wintertime scents. Man, these are some of them right here. Also, I want to make this clear, this is not my official top 10 winter fragrances video yet. I'm going to do that soon. It's in the works, but like every year it gets harder and harder to create, and so right now we're down to the point of just kind of shifting things around and, you know, substituting certain things in, taking certain things out, moving the order around and so forth. So it's in the finishing stages. It's going to be coming up soon. I want to get it out there somewhat early-ish so you have time to do some shopping beforehand. So coming up, but this is one to kind of tide you over. These are still some great scents that I just look forward to wearing, and I might not wear these as frequently as I would, since that will be in my top 10, you know, winter fragrances video, but these are definitely going to be getting a lot of views. I try to take and set aside as much time as I can to wear the scents that I really enjoy, because it is easy for me to get caught up in testing and trying all the new things, new releases, and new stuff to my collection. So I try to carve out time to wear the stuff that I enjoy, and these are some of them. And so I'll drop links to these down below. You know, there's Black Friday sales going on like crazy right now, so now will be the time to do some shopping around if you want to grab some of these for yourself. I've got a mailing list and texting list you can sign up to as well. So for those Black Friday sales that I just mentioned there, my mailing list and texting list were the first to hear about it before you know, a YouTube video was put up about it here on my channel. So if you want to be the first to know about stuff like that and about rare fragrance restocks and just general new releases hitting discounters and all of that good stuff, new fragrance clones coming in stock, all of that, jump on those, you won't regret it. All right, first up we have Prada Luna Rosa Black. Always love wearing this stuff. I've had this for years. This DNA itself has been around for a long time. Very powdery from the tonka bean, a little bit sweet from the amber. You can kind of think of something like a Bulgari Black, not Man in Black, but Bulgari Black, the little puck-shaped bottle, Midnight in Paris by Van Cleef & Arpels. This is kind of that DNA. Both of those that I just mentioned have been discontinued for some time now, and it's shocking to me that this one is still in production, because this is not the type of thing that is super mass-pleasing and cookie-cutter by today's standards, and probably never by any standards. I mean, this is not really a whole lot of a masculine scent, but I do really like it though, and I think a lot of people who appreciate something that is a little bit different and out of the ordinary would like this one as well. Powdery and dusty is the name of the game with Prada Luna Rosa Black, so that's something you have to make sure you're aware of going into this one. It might not be what you're expecting, but if you're after something different, or you know what you're getting yourself into, you know, you're pretty confident in your abilities to make purchases based off of, you know, what you typically like, and if this aligns with that, then you're in the clear. Best going price for this one is usually right around $110, sometimes maybe a bit less. It retails for $130, so anything below that, you're doing good. Next up we have Paco Rabanne Pure XS. Just the original one here. I love Pure XS Night as well, and I do really enjoy to wear it, but it's a little bit harder to get. I try to exclude that one for that reason. But this one is easy to get everywhere. Pick your favorite discounter. They probably have it for around $45 to $55. That difference there is going to be dependent on whether you get a tester or not. The testers do come with a cap. At least I'm 100%, almost 100% sure they do, because they are hinged. Unless they did away with the hinging mechanism, there's really no other choice. It kind of has to come with a cap there. So a great way to save about $9–10 if you go that direction. To be honest with you, I can't remember if this is a tester or not. Actually it is, yeah, it says on the bottom. This was a while ago. I bought this when it first came out, or very new. Tester, you can see it up there. So at the time, they came with a cap. Hopefully they still do, probably. I love this stuff. It's sugary, a little bit boozy, it's very sweet. In typical Paco Rabanne fashion, they know it works for the general public, and this is it right here. I will say, compared to a bulk majority of their Invictus flankers and even their 1 million flankers, this one's a bit more interesting to me. Keep in mind, it's still designer level, and it's not as unique and interesting as Pure XS Night, but this is still a great starting point. Kind of like what we were just talking about with Luna Rosa Black. If you're after something with a little bit of a twist, but still very wearable, great for cooler weather, and just isn't going to give you any problems, Pure XS is a great option. Next up, we have Armani Stronger With You Oud. Great flanker, and this is super easy to understand. It's the Stronger With You DNA with a little bit of oud. It's a designer level oud. Of course, it's going to be a synthetic oud. It is nothing to be scared of. Kind of like Versace Oud Noir, you know, something like that. Even Tom Ford Oud Wood. It's mild. You know, there's not a whole lot to it. It's not too intimidating. It might look that way. You see the name. You see that oud is prominent, but it's not all that bad. This is the furthest thing from an unwearable niche oud scent, okay? And so that's a good thing in this case. It's one of the better flankers in the line. I really like this. Absolutely is still my favorite, and it would be an obvious choice. That's one that will probably end up making it into my official list because I do wear it more. But the oud one is probably in the running in second place there in terms of what I'm wearing a lot in terms of the Stronger With You line. I would say this one, and I'll throw on Intensely every now and then, but I really like this oud flanker just because of the fact that it has some oud in there, just a little bit of a woodiness, just gives it some more variety, changes things up, spices things up a little bit. So yeah, Stronger With You Oud, it still maintains that Stronger With You versatile, mass-pleasing DNA that a lot of people love and some people might hate in terms of, you know, collectors, but general public, they're gonna think this smells fantastic. 9 times out of 10, this is gonna get you some great compliments. Let's go for a niche option up next. This one is usually around $180-ish, and that's kind of going rate typically. There are clones of it available, quite a few, if you want to go that direction, which is a great way to go if you're doing some budgeting. But this one is Killian Angel's Share. So I'm sure you guys remember the pretty significant hype wave behind this one when it first came out. Kind of shocking, actually. I really like it. I think it's a great scent, but it definitely took off more than I thought it would. And there have been some other niche releases that I think maybe were better than this that didn't take off as much. So one of those deals where, I don't know, just did really well. And it is a good scent. It's got cognac, cinnamon, and praline. Very sweet, and in typical Killian fashion, it's boozy as well. A little bit gourmand for sure. Rich, heavy, strong, great quality, great performance. Very mass-pleasing because it's so sweet. This is the type of thing that people are going to say smells delicious and they can't get enough of. And so I do really like it, and it is one of those things where as soon as that cold weather starts coming around, I am thinking of it and I'm wanting to get it on. I will say this is not one that I would be inclined to wear for days in a row, or, you know, it's not going to get as much wear or as much skin time as some other my winter scents. This is the type of thing where it's like I get in a few solid wearings in, you know, a cooler winter season, and then I'm kind of set. I'm good. You know, it's a little goes a long way with me. You know, it takes a little bit, and I'm like, okay, I've got my fix. I'm good on Angel Share, and I'm happy now. A lot of my top 10 winter fragrances that would be in my video are scents that I would wear often, you know, could be several times a week. Sometimes I'll get on a little tangent and wear them, you know, days in a row. This is not that. So that's kind of where this video differentiates as well. I definitely start craving it and I want to wear it, but I get satisfied from this one pretty quickly. And that's because it is so sweet and it's very strong, almost sickeningly sweet, which I like, but again, in moderation. So if you're someone who's, you know, kind of on the fence with that, something to consider before you go and blind buy this one. Sample it first, try some of the clones first, you know. It's going to be considerably cheaper, and worst case, you're out $30 versus almost $200. And now this next one actually is one that probably has slipped in from my winter fragrances video, but it's one that I've been wearing a lot already just because it's gotten cold pretty quickly. It went from like mild, really, really beautiful fall temperatures to where now it's feeling like winter. You know, in the 30s, it's windy, so the real feel is in the 20s. Got cold pretty quick. When that happens, this one comes out. Spice Bomb Extreme, this one's comforting, it's strong, spicy and sweet, a lot of tobacco in here. You guys know it. And for me, it's almost like a comfort scent in a way. It might not sound like it, super spicy and strong, right? That sounds the furthest thing from comforting. But when it's super cold outside, and this one kind of gives you the smell and kind of gives you the feelings and thoughts of like the holidays and Christmas and even Thanksgiving and generally just New Year's Eve festivities. When it kind of smells like all of that going on, it's something that just makes you feel all warm inside. A very special scent, hands down. This one has gotten a ton of hype, and again, it needs no introduction, but truly worth it. I would say, there's a lot of scents out there that have gotten immense amount of hype, and I think a lot of them have deserved it, but I think especially that this one has really deserved every ounce of it. It sounds trivial, and yes, it's only a Spice Bomb flanker, but it is really good, and this could stand on its own outside of the Spice Bomb line and also be a star, in my opinion. It's a great scent for around $107, $110 for 90 ml. It's on the pricier side, but a little goes a long way in terms of its requirement for sprays because it's very strong and it's well worth the money. Let's go with PDM Carlile up next. Now, this guy's pricey. You thought Spice Bomb Extreme was expensive. This one is even more so. If you can get this for a touch over $200, like $220 on discounters, you're doing good. But that is a little bit harder to come by. Just in general, PDMs below retail are getting a little bit more few and far between. Leighton and things like that, 180, you're doing good. Okay, 190, doing good. Retail is just not in the cards for a lot of people, myself included, and so anything below retail is great, but getting as far away from that price as possible is even better. And again, not always possible at the time that you might be shopping, and so you might just have to wait around or pick up a bottle secondhand or something, which is unfortunate that that's how it is now, but that's how it is. This one here is fantastic. It's one of my favorite PDM offerings. For the people who say that PDM is too designer level, too designer-like, Leighton, Sedley, Percival, Greenlee, Herod, right? All of those are just, they're not niche enough. This is more niche than all of the others put together almost. It's kind of smoky and woody from the patchouli and Gaiac wood. It's sweet from the vanilla in here. You get some warm spices. Smells amazing. And it kind of reminds me a little bit of a much more wearable Mancera Red Tobacco. Much more smooth, more wearable, more well-rounded. And if I had to choose a favorite between those two, it would be Carlile. Not hard at all to make that decision. That being said, I love Red Tobacco. It's considerably more affordable. You can get that stuff for $80 to $90 a lot of the times. But there are some pretty immense differences. This one is just more well-rounded, more wearable overall. It's a beautiful scent, work of art. I love Carlile. And this is one where it's borderline. I could almost wear it every day. It's expensive. I wouldn't do that, but it's one where I definitely start thinking about it a lot when the weather starts to turn. Next up, we have just the original Ferragamo Uomo. It's a sweet bomb, kind of like some of the other things we've talked about in here. It's one of those things where I'll crave it every now and then, start getting cold outside. I start thinking, man, what are some scents that are just sweet and powerful and gourmand to the max? Ferragamo Uomo pops up in my mind. It's a $40 to $45 scent. It is powerful. It is sweet, strong, gourmand. Smells like kind of like coffee and chocolate and dessert and tiramisu all mixed together. Smells great. There's even like a slightly bright, I think it's probably an ambroxan off the top as well. So that's kind of giving it a slight freshness, which is interesting. But very quickly does this one dry down to a silky, sweet gourmand. So again, not for everybody. You have to know what you're getting yourself into here. The good news is it's blind buy safe in terms of its price, okay? Not in terms of the scent itself. If you're not into sweet scents and you haven't found that out yet, then that would be a risk. But in terms of the pricing here, under $50, it's not like you're gonna, lose $250 blind buying Carlile and really being in the hole. So something to consider. And for me, it's one where I get a few solid wearings in each fall and winter time, and that kind of does me over until next year. Lancome Elixir is up next. This one's got a little bit of iris in the mix. It has, of course, some vanilla, some lavender, and some cardamom. So the cardamom is new, the iris is new, the lavender, the vanilla, that's existing from, you know, all of the others, dating all the way back to the original Lancome. So that's where that comes from. It does smell like the original. You get some of that sweetness, kind of maybe carrying over from Ultra Male a tiny bit, nowhere near that level, and it doesn't have the pear fruitiness going on, but some of those sweet characteristics. This one adds in the iris and the cardamom, giving it a little bit of a smooth creaminess and also a little bit of a warm, spicy kick. Very interesting mix. This is a great flanker. The new Elixir is one of my favorites as well, and it might become one of my top favorites of the line, but again, it just came out. I've had a lot more skin time with this one, and so that's kind of why it's in here, because I can actually crave to wear this one because it's actually been out for some time now. Generally, this is in the, I don't know, $80 to $90 price range. I've seen it for less too. I've actually seen this bottle size, the 125, into the 70s, but that's more of a rarity. So 80 to 90 is kind of what you're going to be expecting to pay for this one. Another one where you don't need a ton of it. It's a good investment. It's going to last you a while. You're going to have a lot of use out of it. And last up, Hugo Boss Bottled Oud. I've talked about this one quite a bit. Love it in the wintertime. Another one that probably could also have a placement in my official list as well. And it might, who knows, we'll see. You know, you're gonna have to stay tuned. But this one's got oud, apple, cinnamon. What I love about it is it hones in on that nostalgic and very popular, very successful Boss Bottled Intense DNA. The apple, the cinnamon, it smells like fall legitimately, and wintertime as well, just because all the winter desserts and stuff, the cool weather desserts that you might be indulging in over the holidays, this smells like it. But Boss Bottled Intense is discontinued, basically impossible to get. This one smells very similar, just with a little bit of oud. Going back to what we were talking about with Stronger With You Oud, nothing to be scared of. In fact, this one's probably even a little bit more diluted and wearable than Stronger With You Oud. And Stronger With You Oud is also already very easy to pull off. So I'm telling you guys, if you're apprehensive, don't be, okay? Don't stress over it. If you're worried about what people are going to think about it, you know, just regular people out there, guys, they're not going to be put off by this oud scent. This is, it's hardly there. I mean, really, it is nothing to worry about. If you're worried about what you're going to like, you know, that's something that is more important, at least in my opinion. You know, you should be worried about yourself first, if you're going to enjoy the scent or not. And that just comes down to what are you into and how much are you going to be obsessing over it. A lot of people will see oud, they'll get it into their head that it's there and it's going to be too strong and you're going to hate it. And what happens? You get the scent in and it's like you psych yourself out and then you end up hating it. You know, just don't worry about it. Take it in stride. You're going to end up really enjoying this stuff. It's a great entry level into oud scents. You could barely even classify this as one, but ultimately it's a great Boss Bottled scent DNA. It works very well. Alrighty guys, I think that's going to do it for me. Some of my favorite winter scents that I look forward to wearing each time the weather starts to turn a little bit. Again, not my official winter fragrances list. It's coming up soon. These are some that kind of tide you over, and there's some where I'll get my fix on these and then just be done with them. The winter list, that's going to have some heavy hitters that I'm going to be hitting frequently, consistently. Links will be down below. Again, deals will be going out first to my mailing list and texting list at the link and number down below. Sign up to both of those to be the first to know. Generally, being that those guys find out about this stuff first, the things sell out quick. And so you want to make sure you're on there. You're getting first dibs. We're talking a bunch of rare stuff that comes in often. You don't want to miss out at all. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy. We'll see you tomorrow with another one. Take care.